into Gamesthetic, episode 213, I think. I'm Alex Light with Sparking 3. I hope you're having a phenomenal day, whatever day you are listening or watching this episode. We appreciate you. I got both the boys in here. Zach, buddy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good.
Can't complain? Not today, at least.
No.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, John? Can you complain?
Yeah, always.
Always ready to go.
You can't complain too much though, because we're a week out from WrestleMania now.
You damn right, brother. Yeah, we got to get something on schedule to do a Terrible Wrestling Show. I have a lot to talk about. I have so many
I've got
thoughts.
to catch up because I've been missing SmackDown lately.
Yeah.
And so I got some catching up to do before next week.
I mean, next week's free, so.
Yeah, true. So what he's referring to is Gamesthetic. We will not have a show next Saturday because one, Zach's busy, and two, John and I want to watch WrestleMania. If something big happens to the week, either one of two things will happen. Either I'll just make a video about it and post it on Saturday, or John and I might come together to do a short episode. I don't know. We'll see. But we will not be live that night for WrestleMania.
Yeah, just assume if like some big Digimon news comes out, we'll have a show.
Facts. If big Digimon Time Stranger news happens, there will be a short episode of some capacity. That is very important.
It'll just end up being a 45-minute episode, y'all just gushing over Digimon.
Yes.
More than likely.
Over like a minute trailer.
Correct. It's like Black Myth all over
I was going to
again.
say, you thought we could ramble on Black Myth, but we know we can talk more about Digimon.
Facts. So, yeah, shout out to that. So, like I said, if anything big does happen during the week, I'll put it like this. If it's big enough to warrant John's interest, there'll be a short episode. If it's whatever big happens the week, I'll probably do some short episode pre-recorded post on Saturday. So tune into that. We'd appreciate that. Today, though, we will be talking about South of Midnight as well as Blueprints. Check that out. Marathon's gameplay reveal was today. We'll touch on that. Some updated information with everything going on with Nintendo. Xbox Showcase confirmed and a bunch of other random things. If you could, check out the Patreon to further support the channel. We'd appreciate that extra support. Shout out to our Tier 2 patron, Hannah. Join the Discord, be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll also shout out Rogue Energy and Agent Inc. later on in the show. John, I want you to know this about Digimon. I don't know how this has happened, especially since it's happened on every social media type of platform that I watch, but like the exact same clip has somehow filtrated my timeline in both TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and as of today, Twitter. But it's like the scene from the Digimon movie, the one for us where it was 3 movies slapped together of Metal Garurumon and War Greymon rushing through the cyber tunnel, beaten up, and it's like whatever song was playing, everyone's saying that scene has filtrated every possible timeline for me over the last week. Because it's like I'm scrolling through TikTok, comes on TikTok, oh yeah, this scene was awesome. And then I'm going through YouTube Shorts like, oh yeah, this scene is awesome, but why is it also here? And then today when I was eating dinner earlier, I was scrolling through and I saw it, I watched it again. It's a great scene.
It just means
but it's like, why is it here in every possible way?
It just means you got a good feed right now.
Is this a scene from Digimon Try?
No, the OG one.
Okay.
Yeah, so the OG movie that came over to us, that was 3 movies slapped together.
Oh, is that what that was? Is that why it was so weird?
That's why it was so convoluted.
Yeah,
with
because it was like
things.
3
OVAs.
30 to 40-minute movies that were just slapped together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, it was the Origin, the Internet one, and then the Season 2.
Yeah, it was the Season 2 with the Golden Digi-Eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, just shout out to that. Just shout out to the soundtrack of that whole movie, man. It's a banger. It had no reason to be as good as it was. That movie is fantastic. Oh, God. So yeah, hopefully there's some Digimon news this week. That'd be pretty cool.
Probably not.
Probably not going to happen,
no.
but we can try to manifest it.
Yeah, manifest that. It'd be pretty
I was
sweet.
saying, DigiFest already happened, and you had your yearly moment.
No, we're gonna have more. We got more coming because Digimon Time Stranger's on the way, brother. We got more to come. I can't wait. Did they reveal another Digimon this week? Did you see one? Like some other?
I didn't see one.
Okay, maybe I'm.
It hadn't been in my feed this week.
Okay, maybe I'm hallucinating. I'll try to fact check that during the show while someone's talking about something. Because I want to say I saw something, but I don't remember what it was. But anyway, shout out to Digimon Time Stranger. It's gonna be great. Anything you guys want to chat about before we jump into South of Midnight?
Kind of bounced back a little bit on a game that I haven't been playing as much recently. Supervive just had kind of a update and rank reset. They kind of changed it around a little bit to where, because the game used to be you played quads or duos, and now it's only trios.
Okay.
So right now you can only queue into a trios game. And one thing with the game before was ranked and unranked were the same lobbies.
Okay.
It was just like you would get the ranked points and that if you queued for ranked, but it was the same lobbies. Seems like they separated those now. I think.
Okay.
Also to combat like queue times and that, because it is a very small community in that game. Seems like there's a bunch of bots in the game now.
Oof.
Because first game back playing it, I think it's 40-man lobbies.
Okay. Damn.
Is what it was, because it was like 10 teams of 4
I mean,
or
yeah,
20
okay,
teams
yeah.
of 2.
That makes more sense with quads, but
I
saying,
don't know what the number is right now. That's what it used to be.
Gotcha.
So it's somewhere in that range. And first game back did just drop like 21 on game 1, and it was like there were a few fights where like, yeah, there was definitely players, and sometimes it's like these are definitely bot behaviors right now. But probably gonna hop back into it a little bit coming up. It's a fun like top-down MOBA style BR. So gonna be hopping back into play.
honestly, sounds very much like the game I think I told you about years ago, Internal Return.
Yeah. This one is I don't know if I ever played Eternal Return, but this one is like very remnant of that battle right combat.
Yeah, the Internal Return that's more of a BR straight up MOBA controls, and then just PvE EVP aspect to it.
Yeah. Sounds very similar. This one just has the BR closing circle, and you can respawn and stuff like that.
See, instead of doing circle and Internal Return, they did the classic battle royale movie of zones. Well, you'll just die in zones that they cut off.
But yeah, there was that. Also, I saw an article this week. I don't know if it's true. I haven't seen any official news on it, but I saw 2 articles that was saying Baldur's Gate 3 patch 8 might be coming this week.
Yeah,
I saw that too.
I think I saw like official confirmation for that.
Yeah, because they did a stream just this week as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Information
think
about
it-
it.
I think
hadn't
Larry
been
confirmed it.
yesterday. It wasn't up on like their Steam news page yet.
Gotcha.
So I wasn't 100% sure because I didn't look into it too much.
Yeah.
But that's exciting.
Yep, 15th. Yep, 15th.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, which I think I had that on the weekly wrap up as well.
I didn't look at it.
Yeah, no, I think it's somewhere deep on there.
Yeah, you got it in there.
Yeah, the 12 new subclasses and crossplay, split screen on the Xbox Series S. So
Yeah.
shout out to that.
Looking forward to it because me and a buddy were talking about doing a second playthrough when they added in the new subclasses.
Nice. I haven't had a lot of time to do some gaming this week. Like for me, South of Midnight and Blueprints both started those just last night. I have been playing some Pokemon this week whenever I just go to lay down, whatever, for bed late at night. Shiny luck's been insane. Like I've been going anywhere from at least 2 to 4 shinies a day. Like today, I've already got 2 shinies this morning. Like shiny luck's been crazy, ungodly even. So
I haven't gone back and touched it.
yeah,
I'm
it's
a little
rough.
I was about to say a little worried too because I was one of the big defenders of the performance didn't bother me at all. I feel like if I went back now, it would bother me.
Brother, there are times that it gets on my ever-loving nerves, and I'm just like, I'm glad I'm kind of back into it because we're right around the corner from the patch, from the the big update for it, whatever, with Nintendo Switch 2. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like after the update, playing it kind of fresh of mind what it's like. Oh man, it is still rough.
Yeah, because I remember because I've never been a big shiny hunter,
Yeah.
but there's been it's usually one of those where when I'm playing a new Pokemon game and I find a mon that I'm really enjoying using, I'm like, I'm getting a shiny version of it. And I remember in Violet, or I was in Scarlet. No, I was in Violet.
I think you were in Violet.
I was in Violet, yeah. I remember there was one because it was what's it called, Glamora?
Yeah, Glamora. Yeah, the rock. It was
Yeah.
what the champion had. Yeah,
Yeah. Shiny hunting that little sumbitch.
the Glimmet, whatever.
Yeah, shiny hunting that little sumbitch in that frame rate was miserable.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I am very picky with my shiny hunts because I'm just trying to play this like casually before bed kind of thing. So it's like if you're super super tiny or there's the smallest difference of shiny, you're out. I'm not hunting you.
Well, yeah, that was like I only wanted that one because I was like I've specifically been using this. I'm really enjoying it. I
Right.
want to have one. God, it sucked.
Yeah, yeah. No, for me, the one that I was adamant, like I wanted to hunt this for because I just loved it in the game was Pommy. Pommy, Pomo, and Palmot. Love that line. I think they're probably my favorite line of that game. I got 2 shinies from hunting that one. That was actually when I was still originally playing the game. That wasn't just this recent surge of shiny hunting I've done. I've gotten so much stuff recently. I've gotten some older ones that I'm pretty pumped up about. I was shiny hunting a Gobite. I had an Outbreak, which was cool because I also had a Gibble the day before, so I got both now. But literally, as I'm hunting the Gobite, like I'm kind of looking around, like going through the Outbreak. I look to my left, and he is just stanced up. He looks over at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, is that a shiny Toxtricity? Let's fucking go. He just stands there. It was the form I wanted to, the amped up one with the yellow, I got so pumped, dude. I love that shiny. Like the pinkish maroon that it's got. I just stopped dead in my tracks. I'm like, is that what I think it is?
I think the last one that I actually shiny hunted before I stopped playing Violet was the car engine.
Yeah, I got one of those.
I
Yeah.
think that was the last one that I did.
So I got mine by random whenever I was still originally playing the game. That was one of my first shinies. One shiny I got this week that just pissed me off, where I almost killed it. I was trying to shiny hunt the apple, and unfortunately it was the little apple, not one of the other 2 forms, which that was a pain in the ass to try to hunt. They were so damn small, and there's like this large little plane, whatever. And a shiny did pop up for a Pokemon that I already have the shiny for, that I also got random, and it's a Pokemon that I hate because it's so damn ugly. And I just stopped and stared at it for about a solid 30 seconds debating, should I kill it or catch it? And it was that stupid spider in the new game. It was the evolved form of it, the Spidops, whatever, with the weird butt. Yeah, like that red motherfucker just stood up beside me, and we just stared at each other for about 30 seconds. Like, I already have one. The fact you popped up right now pisses me off, and I want to kill you. I caught it, but I wanted to kill it.
I will say, one of my favorite things is every time there's a new generation of Pokemon or a new game that comes out, is like we'll talk a couple days after it comes out or something,
right.
and like you'll be like trying to shiny hunt something and not getting it, and then like inevitably, within a couple hours of me hopping back on, I always end up finding a full-on shiny.
Yeah,
just randomly. Because then I usually like to take a picture of it and just send it to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I'm aware of the process. Son of a bitch. But like I said, though, my shiny luck's been insane. So it's been fun this week. Just playing for like an hour every night, whatever, just seeing what I can get. Anyway, let's jump into South of Midnight, boys. Xbox's new release from this past week. Pretty short game. Zach's been definitely plowing through it right now. John's I have only played a little bit so far. Overall, how are we feeling about it? Zach, you want to start off since you've played the most?
I mean, I've been enjoying it. It's a nice, just sort of a smaller game you can pretty much get into and probably beat within about like 3 or 4 game sessions.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Because, I mean, yeah, as y'all have both mentioned off, the first couple chapters are fairly quick. The mid to later chapters are a little bit longer, just with how they space it out with everything and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Overall, though, I have been enjoying it. Just the stories it's been telling through each of the patterns you collect first during chapters and whatnot. Hazel herself as a character, she's not a bad character. I mean, she sort of fits in the whole teenager suddenly found powers and
Trope, yeah.
Yeah, and there's just one moment that I've gone through that I literally just, it was happening. I was like, I've lost it, because it's the trope of she's doing something stupid because adolescence, when literally the rest of the time her character would most definitely, if it stayed in her character, should have realized what the hell was going on based on just collectibles you find, because she actively makes comments about it when you read stuff.
Yeah.
She actively notes that, hey, the players found this, and then just other stuff that's happening, and just like the context clues that should have been there, and just been like, oh, this is probably what's going to, but nope, adolescence and blind rage. And I was like, all right, I hate this part. There's no point to this, but I guess we're doing it.
Right. No, I know for me, like immediately coming into the game, I was immediately impressed with what I was already impressed with to begin with, just the art style, just the entire art approach to the game. The
art is very
wonderful.
Nice.
I was going to say, question about the art style. Are you playing with the stop motion?
Yes, I am actually.
You can turn that off.
If you can turn it off, I didn't know.
You can turn it off. If you turn it off, it keeps it for cutscenes, but gameplay wise, it's just smooth.
Yeah, I didn't know you could turn it off. So
See,
I guess I am.
I like the stop motion, so I kept it on because during that like initial cutscene, I went, "Is this stop motion?"
You're talking about the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought the same thing. I'm watching this. I'm like, what am I watching?
Because I didn't realize they were going to do stop motion.
Yeah, I didn't
but
know
I'm
either.
completely fine with it because I enjoy stop motion art and whatnot. So I've just left it on.
Yeah, so I didn't know you could turn it off. So yes,
I turned
I've
it
got
off for gameplay, but in all cutscenes, it comes back. Which
Okay.
it works in the cutscenes, but it was driving me a bit crazy.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the art style is pretty sick. The other thing that really kind of captured me was just the music, man.
Music's done
The
very well.
music is so damn good. It sets the tone constantly, but it sets the tone in very interesting ways. You know what I mean?
And I mean, the fact that I really enjoy about the music and just across the entire game is when you're like getting the patterns and whatnot, it just constantly plays like specific themes for each of the characters and whatnot,
Yep.
and plays it while you're moving and not just during the cutscene, which is a nice ambiance thing.
Like with the Bungie stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, Darren like the Benji stuff. I like that they do the song is kind of about the story. It's a little too on the nose for me sometimes.
It was extremely on the nose. You're not
it's like,
wrong.
Go with the theme a little bit. We don't have to sing the song describing exactly what's happening right now necessarily.
I can see your point.
It fits the whole Southern folklore theme, though. Is
Yeah.
the whole thing is like
Yeah,
those,
I get it. It was just as I was listening to it, I was like, I think I'm about to tune the words out a little bit and kind of just listen to it play.
Right.
because like a lot of the whole things that's literally just blues songs or whatnot that's literally telling the entire story isn't in most of those like Southern folklore type things,
Right.
and not just referencing it and whatnot. It's literally telling the story within the song. So
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for both of you. This
Okay.
is combat in the game.
I knew that was going to be your question.
Honestly, I haven't played as far as Zach. I'm not halfway through the game or anything yet. But to me, this almost feels like this would have been better without combat, and if it was like instead of having the combat, if it was like puzzle elements.
Right. Just
In a
like
sense.
just a
Because
puzzle,
the
like a
combat
platformer.
feels
adventure.
jank as hell.
I can agree with that because it is mostly just more of a mechanism for the story of just the whole knots and things like that. With her, I didn't agree with you initially. I felt very janky. I've gotten used to it now, but also with the upgrades, as you upgrade the skill tree, it becomes a little bit smoother. It's still not perfect, honestly, because it is a lot of just whenever I go into a fight, things spawn. I go, and I more or less go take over, stun, beat up, pull.
Yeah. It's you get into a pretty standard pattern pretty
Yes.
quickly.
Let's see. I have one thing that I do in combat until there's like one enemy left. Jump attack straight down.
Yeah.
Jump attack. It interrupts every single enemy attack that
It
I've
does.
come up against so far. So I'm in there. I'm like, this seems to be the most effective way to deal with this combat that I'm not enjoying.
Right.
See, and I agree. The beginning combat is sort of rough, but I almost sort of like how janky it feels because as I've finished out the upgrade tree and whatnot and gotten stuff towards the max, it has smoothed down. I've gotten used to it, but it sort of fits the whole thing and just Hazel just found these things. She has no prior trading. She's just somehow has a slight sense of how it works. So
Winging it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the jankiness sort of fits, and as it slightly smooths out as you as the player and Hazel gets more combat experience, I sort of like that.
Right.
In
It's kind
term-
of like a headcanon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of gameplay wise, it's
Yeah.
pretty mid.
yeah. So
'Cause that's my thing. I understand it fits a story, but at the same time, it's like I'm having to play through this combat,
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm coming from playing Monster Hunter Wilds and First Berserker Kazan, and
Which
I'm
are
like,
very
and I'm like,
smooth.
these are fantastic combat systems, and then I'm coming to this, and I'm like, can we not do the combat?
Right,
I was like, is there a checkbox where I can not do this?
I will say with the combat in terms of like overall aspects of a video game of what like you would rate a video game on like like the combat, the general gameplay, the world, the characters, story, the music, art direction. combat's the weakest link.
By far,
it is the weakest link here. You know what it feels like to me, and I'm curious if you guys agree. It feels like a janky baby version of Dragon Age Veilguard. Like that's what it feels like to me, going into the different combat zones and going through it. That's what it feels like to me, is like a dumbed down, like janky version of Veilguard's combat. And Veilguard's combat wasn't incredible.
I was gotta say
it was
that's
fine.
That's one of those where it's like, I mean, Veilguard's combat is kind of scaled down from everything else.
I know, and that's what I was thinking of. It's like, it's like this just feels like a couple steps below what Veilguard's was in terms of how it feels. And I thought Veilguard's combat was fine for what it was, and I think this is fine for what it is because everything else is nice, but it is the worst part. Yeah,
it's one of those where it's like, I mean, look at Veilguard. It's like, I mean, I enjoyed the combat enough in that game to play the shit out of it.
Yeah, it was fine enough.
But the only reason like I kind of get stuck on the combat not being fun is because I very much am enjoying everything else with the game.
Yeah, same
I
here.
love the art style. I love the soundtrack. I love the way the characters kind of are interacting with each other when they see them. It's like the only thing where I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's like, I get it. It's a game. You got to give us the systems to work with. Very rarely do you see a main character who's so like their objective is so like, I've got to go find like my mother. I've got to go do this, but stops along the way when they see a shiny object to pick up and play with. Because it's like, oh, there's a shiny object there. I wonder what this does, and go to pick it up and kind of play with it a little bit. And it's like, yeah, I know I need this to progress the story, but if my motivation was really get towards my mother as fast as possible, I'd probably be trying to do that a little bit more until I got to a point where I couldn't, and then was like, okay, how do I have to solve this?
Yeah, it does kind of feel like, because I noticed that almost instantly, of the necessity feeling is not there. You know what I mean? And you feel like it should be there. And now that you're further, maybe you can kind of squash how we're feeling on that. But like to me, immediately, I felt like there was no necessity behind it. Because like right after that, at the very beginning with the house where it gets swept away, it's like, I don't know if this was a voice acting issue or a story or a script issue, but it just felt like the necessity dropped off a cliff. Where it's like her tone had completely changed. Where it didn't feel frantic. It didn't feel like I need to go do this. It's like, we're gonna go there. Maybe they can help. And that's how I feel with the game itself too.
I got that feeling when you wake up the morning after the storm.
Yeah.
Because then the tone kind of, I mean, I get it for the situation. Tone shifts from like find my mother to find a way out of this place.
Right.
And then like from there, it kind of feels like, okay, I'm working my way there, but I'm gonna see what's going on along the path.
Right.
I mean, that urgency sort of fade, and it is slightly weird because, I mean, her overarching goal is find her mother or get to her mother. And with the whole Weaver thing in it, it does slowly become a thing of her doing each of these things, which somehow allows her to progress to the goal of finding her mother.
Right.
Like the whole, she had to get catfish out from Benji's fingers, so she has to deal with that whole stuff. Then there's, after that, traveling across whatever, Prospero or whatever their town name is. Mm-hmm. You're going through the hurricane-ravaged parts of the city where, while also getting chased by the alligator two-toed Tom, and to the point of where you deal with that, so you have an alligator stop chasing you. Mm-hmm. And then she gets her next lead and goes somewhere else to try and talk to somebody who may know where her mother is. And that leads to a whole other thing of her stopping to be like, in the process of trying to find her mother, she caused this incident, so she wants to help deal with said incident.
Right.
Which then leads to her finding her other lead, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So it's more or less of, she gets a side quest everywhere she goes.
Yeah, which makes sense.
It's like, I want to get a video game. It's kind of like I know where I want to get to, but to get there, I have to find this person to help me along that way to get to that person who can help me along the next way.
Because it more or less becomes a thing of this, like, she does eventually find the trailer pretty soon in the chapters y'all are about to do, and then she doesn't really have a lead, so it's more or less her chasing leads to find her mother.
Right.
So I mean, she still slightly has that urgency, but it's the same thing of her being like, I sort of have to deal with this to get there.
Yeah, which I mean, that's just like video game logic, right? You know, just getting you step to step. I am glad that, like, to some extent, we're on the same page there, because like I felt like the urgency was kind of weird. It felt weird right out of the gate.
And I feel like it also was a partial thing of us, probably a bit of story writing, and then just the voice actor, because probably when the voice was like, they were just like, all right, that scene's done. We're gonna go to this next scene where you're saying
you need to go to whatever's house.
There was no reference of like, this is right after.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's such an interesting thing to kind of talk about with the narrative of it, where it's like the core narrative of the finding the mother, at least so far, feels kind of like lackluster because of how it was handled. But God bless, the narrative of everything else feels amazing. You know what I mean? All the Bungie stuff was super cool. The whole concept of everything happening was super cool.
Oh, each of the stories are very good.
Yeah, so like that all is fantastic. But it's like the overarching narrative. It's just like, where's the urgency? And I guess for me, like, maybe I'm thinking too hard on this. Like, I have it in my head of like urgency. This is a natural disaster we're talking about. Your house, you watched your house sweep down in water. It's like your mom probably drowned. I mean, obviously, we see kind of what happens immediately about what happens with her mother, just with the dream sequence at the beginning. But it's like, if you're a character in that moment, it's like, oh, my mom's probably already drowned. I need to go make sure. Like, that's what I mean, is like, it's like that natural disaster. My brain, it's like, where's the urgency? It's like, where's the urgency to, like, at least I understand we got to do side quests and this and that, but can we be a little more frantic about it? I don't know. That's just, maybe I'm nitpicking.
I don't know. In my mind, in that kind of, I mean, I guess some people would be frantic, but in my mind, it's just a thing of like, as you said, it's a natural disaster. We saw what happened.
Yeah.
I have something like that. I would be doing everything I can to try and find out the information I wanted to or get to where I needed. But in my mind, I would also try and remain as calm as possible so I don't do anything stupid.
Right.
Yeah. And like, it's a little easier for me to kind of like set that to the side in my brain, where I'm like, yeah, I know I'm on my way there. But when I'm going down a path and I see like, oh, it splits off here, I'm probably supposed to go that way, but I'm gonna go this way first. Like, it's hard. I can't harp on it too much when naturally while I'm playing, I'm also like, oh, I gotta go see what's around this corner over here.
Right.
Because it's like a little bit of that urgency loss feels like it's on me as a player, so I can like give it away a little bit there. But it was like the part that stuck out to me was like when you get up to the mansion and you're there, and then it's like the next morning, I'm like, man, I'd be a little more pressed to get moving in this scenario. But then once I'm out of there, I'm like, okay, well now I've just got to figure my way there.
Yeah.
And then I can justify the exploration that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, overall though, just like playing the few hours that I've played, and it's about the same time as John. I mean, it's been a very solid play. I mean, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. It's just going to be a fun game, right?
Though, John, since you don't like the combat, you're probably not going to enjoy the boss fights.
Well,
yeah, he was telling me about this before you got here.
The way I thought of it as I was playing the game, because I haven't really done boss fight yet, I assume they're coming soon.
Yeah.
But the way like I feel like they got to it and is like they kind of figured it out, and they're like, okay, and then we're gonna have this really cool, interesting boss fight right here. Oh, we're gonna have a boss fight. We need some sort of combat to go with that, and kind of went back, like designed everything, and then went, oh, we should probably have combat for these bosses, and then kind of just put something together for it. It's kind of where, like in my head, where they kind of went backwards there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I wouldn't think like that, because most of the stuff you learn in regular combat, you don't use any of it in any of the boss fights.
Oh, really?
Maybe I would enjoy that more then, because like I said, I don't enjoy like the spell interactions or any of the combat interactions in normal combat.
Yeah.
If it's more of like interesting use or you like use them in a certain way type thing for bosses, that's where I'm more like I would probably prefer like less combat and more puzzle interactions
Yeah,
with
because
this type of game.
that's sort of because I was telling Alex, like the boss fights, they give you no indication or any kind of hand holding. They're just like, hey, here's your boss. Deal with it.
Have fun. Don't get wrecked.
Because like, because y'all are gonna get the first boss is the alligator Two-Toe
Yeah.
Tom,
Yeah, I started the chapter where it like
where Catfish is like,
where
oh no,
where yeah, like you're riding with Catfish, that he goes, nope, we gotta stop, get off, and then he's like, he basically says, he's like, yeah, that's it's the alligator up there. I ain't going anywhere near him.
See, I'm right past that part where you go to the church.
Yeah, see, I stopped before I actually went up to the church.
Yeah, so I'm right past the church part for me.
yeah. So, yeah, no, it just starts that fight and it gives no hand holding. Pretty much, I got hit by one of its attacks and it's just like, oh yeah, you should do this to dodge that. Have fun. And that's how all the fights is. Like, the second fight, no, nothing. It just started the fight. I was like, what am I doing here? And I literally just had to figure out the mechanic in mid fight, and then same thing with the third fight. Just I was like, all right, I'm running around this thing. How do I hurt you?
Right. No, I'm looking forward to getting to the first boss fight. I'll probably get to that sometime. Either tonight or tomorrow.
I was about to
if
say
I
you're
pick-
on the chapter
Yeah,
for it.
I mean, it depending on if I play any more today or if I play it more tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you're talking about
Yeah.
with the boss fights.
Yeah, I was planning on playing more of it and like trying to get as much of it done before the show as possible.
Yeah.
But I kind of, after I stopped the first session, next time I got on my computer, I looked at it and I went, I'm gonna play some Kazan.
That's fair. That's
It's like
fair.
I'm gonna go back to it and probably play through it because it's a short game. I can get through it in like 3 sessions probably.
Yeah, this is one that even for me should have no problem beating with how notorious I am of not beating games because I am bad.
Like, yeah, honestly, probably once we finish up, I'll probably go home and just
Knock
finish
it
it out.
Yeah.
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 My only issue, which I told Alex about, I don't know if it's a game issue or if it's a Series S issue. As I've gotten to the later chapters during the whole book story thing, transition from one chapter to the next, it's had some stutter frames, and when right before it started chapter 12, it just completely froze.
Hopefully that's just a Series S issue, but I mean it sucked if that was for a game breaking bug across the entire
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah.
I would assume if that is a Series S issue, you could probably just upload your save file and access it through Game Pass on your PC.
I mean, I could, yeah.
Like if it was a serious enough issue where it was
Yeah.
not working.
Yeah, that'd be my fallback if just when I go home and load it up and it just freezes right there at the beginning of chapter 12 again. But
Yeah, because I've been playing it through Game Pass on my PC.
yeah. So that makes me wonder because I did have to cancel out. I don't know where it's going to put me up. I don't know if it's going to start right there at that storybook thing or if I got to finish out chapter 11 again, which isn't big of an issue, but
Right, right.
I think it would. I think it should have finished you up at the storybook because the save points seem pretty much like right where you end off.
yeah, but it was like mid storybook, so
May throw you back into the story.
I'll find out.
Yeah. So obviously, very important question. Where does it go on the board?
7.
That's what I was thinking was a 7. Shout out to the board. I'm thinking a 7 for good.
For me it would be a 7 for good if the combat didn't throw me off so much. It was like so jarring for me. It could potentially be an 8.
That's fair.
But yeah, 7 for now. Don't see it rising above it for me personally.
I agree. I think 7 is a very firm place, which is not a bad rating, by the way. But I will say, music is a 10. Love the music. Music is an absolute 10.
You know, the real nice thing that's really about entertaining about that music is that each song for the most part is actually sung by the voice actor or the characters involved in the story.
I didn't even catch that. That's great.
Yeah, because the Benji's song is being sung by his brother and Benji.
That's great.
Okay, I got a dumb question.
So
So you know you have your spells to interact with the environment.
Yes.
Throughout the four or so chapters I've played, there are these little metal sheets on the ground.
Yep.
That you can. Is there any fucking point to those?
Literally, you just
Or is it just you run up and hit it and it's funny?
well, if you actually when you hit it, you get 5 upgrade points.
Oh.
So that's the reason to do it. Is
I was gonna say I never noticed that. I was just hitting them when I saw them. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is supposed to be doing, but I'm doing it.
yeah, it took like the first 2 or 3 before I noticed I was getting 5 upgrade points, but that's the whole point for them. They give you 5 points for upgrades.
I was gonna say if they keep giving you I think they call it floof
Yeah, flute.
in the
Yeah,
game.
the floof, yeah.
If they keep giving it to you at the rate that they have been, god damn, you should be able to upgrade everything easily.
They're kind of costly.
Well, yeah, but I've had like twice as much as I needed so far.
I was about to say, if you're actually collecting every floof in each level, yes, but you do need some of those 10s as well because the upgrade levels go from 80, 100, 125.
Yeah, because I've upgraded everything that I can, and I still have a surplus.
Yeah, by chapter 5, I had upgraded as well, and it was just farming. But, yeah.
But I also am like, if I see one, I try to figure out how to get it.
Yeah, I
go
pretty
to
much
it.
do that as well. The big things that I've really made sure I got were the health filaments because your health at the beginning is really crap. But you only get like one of those per stage, and it takes 3 to raise your health bar. And there's not even always one on every stage. But I mean, for the most part, you should be able to upgrade everything by the end because I only got 2 things left to upgrade to max out everything. And I said I'm on chapter 12, so I still got 2, maybe 3 chapters to farm enough for it. And usually on the longer chapters, there's over at least 200 upgrade points.
Gotcha. No, I mean overall it's been fun so far. I'll be looking forward to hearing your thoughts whenever you beat it. You know, assuming you're gonna beat it tonight. If you beat it tonight, shoot us a message. I'm just curious your final thoughts when you beat it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know it is a pretty short game. So you know, again, it's like look, if you got Game Pass, it's a short game. You can hop in, have some fun with it. While the combat may be like the worst part of it, doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible. It's just the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Everything else is fantastic though.
And while I did go on for a bit about the combat and not necessarily enjoying it, the combat is a minimal part of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Most of the time, you are like running around exploring, listening to the soundtrack,
Yeah.
and just traversing the
I
environment.
was about to say, for the most part, the only combats you do are boss fights, stuff involved with the tangles, and I've only had like 1 or 2 offshoot fights that are just there to do for whatever reason.
Right. No, fun experience so far. Shout out to South of Midnight. Like I said, it's on Game Pass. Give it a shot. No reason not to, especially since it's a short game. So let's shout out a sponsor. Let's shout out Rogue Energy. Use the referral link down below. Promo code SPARKY3. Get 10% off your order. If they have a different sale going on, no big deal. You feel free to use that sale and just use the referral link. You're still going to help out the brand. Doesn't matter if you're picking up hydration, chill, or the energy. It works for all of them, including the energy cans, which the Black Cherry Lemonade's fantastic, and you should buy it. Again, it's promo code SPARKY3 to get 10% off. Just use the referral link down below. Thanks. We appreciate that. All right, let's touch on Blueprints, the new highest rated Metacritic game of the year, and for me personally, came out of nowhere. I didn't know this game was coming out.
I mean, I don't keep up with puzzle games, so I definitely didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean this is just one of those things that it just popped in my timeline of we have a new highest Metacritic game of the year, beating out I think it was Split Fiction was the previous highest, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And I saw everyone raving about it. I saw the Balaltro creator said this is one of the best games he's ever played, and he can't stop thinking about it. I'm just like, okay, well, okay, what is this game? It is very addictive, very interesting, and it does make you just want to keep playing. So the core concept of the game, it isn't like a roguelike puzzle game. So you come into the game and your like great uncle or whatever passes away, and he leaves you to be the heir of his property. But there's a catch to it. You as his nephew, you can become the heir, but you have to reach the 46th room of the property. There are 45 rooms to go through, and then the secret 46. And he basically details that, he believes that you can reach it, and he believes any proper heir can reach the 46th room of this ever-changing house. There are set ground rules in place whenever you come into the entry point of the house, where you cannot bring tools in from the outside. Any tools you find within the mansion, you cannot take out as well, and you cannot stay overnight. So, did my mic just go out?
Yep.
All right, we're good. You also cannot stay overnight, and you have X amount of steps to explore the rooms. Every time you go into a room that you create or map out, blueprint, whatever, that just going in and out of a room takes a step. So you have 50 steps to start off with, and it's not an actual 50 steps. Again, it's basically 50 rooms is how to think about it. And once you walk in, you get the blueprint of the house where it shows the main entry point, all the different squares of what all you can build, as well as the antechamber at the very top, which obviously plays into factor to get you to the 46th room, which there's a few different ways to get there, to my understanding. I don't know them because I want to figure it out. But there's a ton of different puzzles ranging from really small ones to larger ones, as well as the grand overall scheme ones that you can come across. So, once you come into the main point, you have 3 doors to select from, and as it's detailed in the letter, never take the same approach. Just kind of do whatever. No path will ever be the same. So, like, let's say you walk into this run. I'm on day 5 right now. You go into this run, and it's like, I'm gonna go straight. Let's see where the world takes me. And you go through the front door, and it'll pop up with 3 different blueprints to choose from. They're all different color coded, where it's like let's say orange colors are like just simple hallways and stuff like that. Purple is going to be like different various bedrooms, which can give you additional steps because it's like a quick little rest point. But bedrooms are also usually just a dead end point. So if you put a bedroom here, you have no other way to get out. And it's the same thing for other styles of rooms. Like if you do like a kitchen, kitchen is only going to be your entry point plus 1 exit point. There's going to be rooms like the den, which is 1 entry point, 2 exit points, just stuff like that. So it's like each time you go through, if you just kind of jump into it like I did, and you're not very intelligent like I am, which is a known fact, you're under the impression that it's just all like completely random, which there is a sense of randomness to how you get all the different rooms, but color theory goes into it quite a bit, and just kind of understanding the color theory of the different room types, like the blue room types, the green room types, the red room types, etc. Which like the red room types, those are always going to be like more of a negative type of room, where if you walk in, like if you get the archive room, for example, then every single time you go to open a door, there is one of the 3 room types you can no longer see. You can still pick it, but you just can't see what it is. You have the red room, for example, or the dark room, which is like photography room, whatever, where you can't see any of the 3 options for that one single room. So when you go to exit the room, it's like, all right, let's see what I'm going to get. And I don't know, which has cucked me a few times, where it's like, well, I'm just going to choose the middle one, I guess, and it's a closet. And I'm like, well, oh, fuck, I guess I'm not going any further here. So there's a lot of different elements that go into it, a lot of different puzzles that you can unlock. So like one puzzle that I unlocked was the breaker box puzzle, which that is just a dead end room. You go through the breaker box, you have different options like turn off the dark room. You can open the garage. Basically, there was another one as well as like the security stuff you can turn off, and there's the vac indicators. If you solve the color puzzle for the vac indicators, which for me is where I realized, okay, the whole thing is color theory, got it. Then something happens and you do get a permanent addition, for example. So there are permanent additions that you can do for your run. So in my case, I now have like 2 gyms that I can permanently come in, which gyms play into accessing different rooms, right? So it's like as you're going through the entire map, you have different rooms that will pop up where it's like, okay, the Nook, for example, guaranteed 1 key. Walk in there, get a key, use it for locked doors. You have like the billiards room, go into there, and you can do like a little dart puzzle, which is kind of like who knows what's going to be in there. It could be a security key card. It could be 2 keys. It could be a silver key, which you can use on pretty much any type of door. It could be whatever, right? There is another little 3-box puzzle room where if you solve the puzzle, you get a couple extra gems. The gems just come into play for drafting on the blueprints, different types of rooms. So like when you pull up the drafting, you can draft this one for free. Maybe this one will cost 2 gems, this one will cost 3 gems, etc. And you can just go through and collect different items. You can also collect coins in rooms, which you can take to, like, let's say the kitchen and buy some food to help replenish steps, or maybe go to different types of rooms where you could buy items of some capacity. There's all different items that you can purchase, like magnifying glasses to help, see more fine print on letters, which is kind of interesting to the overarching story of what's happened over the course of the history of people at the house, as well as like your uncle. Like, like stuff you find in like the archives room, letters you'll find in all the bedrooms, just all these different puzzle pieces to fit just the story together. I mean, you can get a hammer, which can break chests for you. You can get a shovel in like the courtyard, stuff like that. So it's like all different sorts of items and things that you can come across. There is one room called, I think it's like the check-in or the coat check or something, where you can check in one item to be there the next day. So that's pretty cool too. So if you have like a really crucial item you don't want to lose, like maybe your lockpick set, which can basically 50-50 on it, can unlock a door for you. It's not guaranteed. And as far as I know, it's limitless. Like, I've used it I've used it in a single run, multiple doors. So it's not like you just use it once and you're done. But it is 50-50 where, if you go to access it, it'll either unlock the door and give you choices of rooms, or it'll be like, well, sorry, it didn't work. So like you can check in like a silver key, your security key card, or your lockpick or whatever. And if you get that coat check again on whatever run, it doesn't have to be the next run. It could be 3 runs from now and you don't get it, and you finally get it again. Then you can go, create the coat check and go check out your item. There's a mail room as well, where when you get the mail room for the first time, you go in there. It's like, oh, order placed, whatever. And it's like the next time you get the mail room, it's like your order was delivered. And for me, I walked in there and my order was a lockpick set and I think 3 or 4 keys. And I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. So that's also an option, as well as just trying to continue the path further. There are different things that you'll find in hallways, like a letter. It's just like, you may find more locked doors on the west side of the manor, or something like that. Different elements, like you can get. I found the laboratory for the first time earlier, and you can choose to like go onto the computer there and access like experiments, and the experiments can also further change the gameplay. Where it's like you can either change this about certain rooms, where it's like, you get this much money or whatever in this type of room, or if you get this type of room, you get this, or you can immediately get this right now, for an example. So, it's a lot of different, it's so interesting, and there's so much damn depth to it, where it's just like, I couldn't stop playing. Just like, okay, I've already gone this way. Okay, I've already explored this side of the left. All right, I reached that end. All right, now I've got these like 3 doors over here, but I need a key for this one, so I need to try to go this way and get a nook here to get a key here, or get a key here, or whatever. There's so much depth to the damn gameplay of just trying to get to this damn 46 room. It is so addicting. I understand why everyone is enjoying the game. It is just viciously addicting.
Questions. I have a couple.
All
so when you start, or when you go in for, like, say you start your day, it's just start from square one?
Yep, start at the beginning.
And how many, is there a set number of rooms to pull from?
Yeah, it's 45 rooms.
But so is it 40? You can only get one of each of those rooms. I guess
No.
what I'm asking is there like, you can get, so like you said, like a closet earlier.
Yeah.
Is there a set number of closets in the pool that you could get, or is it just like unlimited?
So my knee jerk instinct to that is I want to say there's just one. I want to say there's only one of everything, because the whole concept is this is my 45 room manor. So I want to say there's one of everything, because I'm trying to run through my head. I don't know if I've had duplicates of anything, because like you can go back and go look at all of your maps when you're done for every run, which also it's kind of cool. Every run you do obviously changes the house dramatically, and they'll show like a completed image of like the front of your house, and it'll like name the house for you. So like if you got a lot of red rooms, it'll call it like the Crimson Manor or whatever. But man, I don't think I've had any duplicates. I think it's just one of all the 45 rooms. Now I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I don't think I've seen the only possible duplicates that I might have seen would be the hallway rooms. Is like the spare room and just the corridors. That's the only thing I can think of that I've seen maybe. Now, granted, you can see rooms multiple times until you use them. You know, like I've seen like security room multiple times. I'm gonna opt against.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, when you place a room.
I think once you place it, it's done. Because I know one element, the experiment that I did was the aquarium, which the aquarium is a multicolor room. So the experiment I did is I immediately gained 3 aquariums to the room pool. So with that said, I'm going to safely assume there's one for every single room.
Then also, just because I may not understand. So is it like you're trying to get to a space in the house, or are you trying to get all 45 rooms?
You're trying to get to a space in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, however you get there is how you get there. Yeah, you don't have to get all 45 rooms. Just however you get to the 46th room is however you get there. Whether you take the long way or short way, because apparently I guess there's short ways to my understanding, but I don't know what they are, and I don't want to know what they are.
I was curious about a couple of those things because like this sounds like it'd be fun.
It's a great time killer.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it sounds like something I would enjoy because I kind of like a puzzle game right now.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, I'm juggling around right now, and I'm
Right.
like, when would I find time to play this right now?
Right. No, dude. With it being on Game Pass, I highly recommend downloading it. And if you do, please tell me because I want to know your thoughts. Because it's just a fun time addicting game. It really is.
I may download it on my Series S and like give it a go. Because right now, I mean, yeah, I've been bouncing around on games, but I think my main focus right now is going to be trying to finish Kazan.
Right. No, I definitely recommend it. I mean, anyone that has like Game Pass, dude, you got to check. In my opinion, check out Blueprints. I mean, it's a fun time killer. Now, if you're like Zach and you hate puzzles, then don't check it out, obviously. But I mean, if you're fine with puzzles, and dude, just give it a shot. It's fun. I mean, it kills so much time for you, and you just get so addicted to try to figure out the next step. So I mean, I really recommend it. Putting it on the board. I don't know if I'm going to say it's like a brutal masterpiece yet, like everyone else is saying, but I mean, it's at least an 8. It's a very good game. It's very well polished. It's solid, dude. I really enjoy it. Yeah, shout out to Blueprints. If you have not checked it out yet, you definitely need to check it out. One comment I had earlier is Nintendo Switch releasing pre-orders tonight? No, they're not. The pre-orders, as far as I know, will be on May 9th is when the pre-orders will go live. So,
have we heard any more after the whole tariff incident?
There's a few different updates. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we want to just kind of hit on that Nintendo stuff? Do we want to hit on the marathon stuff?
Nintendo.
Let's go ahead and do it.
Go the Nintendo stuff just to.
Let's do Nintendo, and then
Get
I'll
it out
shout
of the way,
out.
kinda.
I'll shout out a sponsor. So yeah, with the Nintendo stuff, as far as I know, the new pre-order date is May 9th. It was part of like a FAQs for the Nintendo store if you were to pre-order directly from them, which you can go sign up to receive emails for to have that chance to pre-order them, and you will essentially be placed in a virtual line based on like those different criteria, like if you've had a Nintendo NSO account, games played, stuff like that. To kind of guarantee your place in line and guarantee you a chance to get a Nintendo Switch 2. But as far as I know, May 9th is the pre-order date. Launch date still unchanged. And as far as it stands now, the prices have not changed. But there has been a lot of discussion from a lot of different analysts and firms and a lot of different people, not even in the gaming space, but like also outside the gaming space, that do believe that it could be going up later to either a base price with, so no bundle at $500 or even no bundle at $550. Which going to the base price at $550, you'd have to think bundle's going to be $600. That's where, buddy. That's getting a little up there in my opinion. 'Cause it's such a conflicting double-edged sword. I was talking to Josh about this as well as my wife, where it's like, if it was to go up to $600, right? Would I get $600 worth of enjoyment out of it over time? Yes, I would. A lot of Zelda, a lot of Pokemon, Fire Emblem. I would, but I also look at it where it's like, I know it's not worth $600, so that's the double-edged sword of, that's kind of gross. I know that's not what it's worth per se, but in terms of 5, 6, 7 years from now, I'm gonna have a great time with it. So it's like it's a double-edged sword kind of thing. I'm not a fan of that price. That sounds gross.
Yeah, if it went up to $600, I don't need a Switch 2.
Yeah, no, I mean I totally understand that because that's like, oh, that's gross. That's getting up there. But based on the cost to manufacture the Switch, apparently even at that the $450 price, Nintendo is planning to just sell it at a loss and just eat the loss because obviously they're just going to plan to make it up in software sales, which all right, that's basic. It's kind of straightforward on that front. A couple of some other details that did come out. They did confirm that the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild, for example, does not come with the DLC with it, which that's kind of shitty in my opinion. That is pretty dog shit. If you're making this enhanced version, you should at least throw the DLC in there with it. They did also, though, confirm with the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of physical games, they do have the full game and the upgrade pack, because that's what they've been saying this whole time with these NS2 games, is that it's the base game with the upgrade pack to make it fancy. And everyone's just like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, if I was to buy a used game, am I screwed out of the upgrade pack, right? Which that's a fair question. But no, they will be coming with the upgrade pack. So it's like, why even advertise it that way? You just say it's a Nintendo Switch 2 game. Like, I don't understand why we have to.
Because it's Nintendo. They got to make sure.
You got to make it complicated.
They got to make sure you know that you're getting something besides just the game.
Yeah, it's Nintendo. They're kind of new to this whole, like, you can play games on multiple systems and not just the same one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so they got to make it overly complicated. You know, you can't just like, it can't be simple. Like, let's say some aspects of like PlayStation where it's just like, oh, if you buy the PS4 version of Ghost of Tsushima, you can spend $10 or $20, whatever it is, to get the PS5 Director's Cut Edition, and there you go. Then you pop in the disc, your PS4 disc, and it's always going to be that PS5 edition. It can't just be simple like that. It's like, and then it's like if I wanted to go buy the physical edition of Ghost of Tsushima, Director's Cut, that's all it is, right? It's the PS5 version of the game, no other confusion. But no, with Nintendo, it's got to be super complicated. Of like, oh no, the Nintendo Switch 2 cartridge, it's the game and the upgrade pack. It's just like, well, why even? I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about that way. Apparently, the GameCube controller will only work with NSO GameCube, which I mean that makes sense. It's kind of disappointing though.
I mean that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. It makes sense, but disappointing. Now, here's something that's gained a lot of attention because a lot of people have seen this all week and have just pointed to one particular situation. A comment from Doug Bowser, who's the head of Nintendo of America, who's making his rounds on like MSNBC and stuff like that. He's doing the big networks, right? There are some other people from Nintendo of America that's hitting all the video game outlets, but he's hitting the big stuff as he should, and he is the head of the company. So his quote on the price attention for his quote on the Nintendo Switch 2 price is, "We recognize that some people may not be able to afford the Nintendo Switch 2 price point. That's why we wanted to make other Switch platforms available so they still have the opportunity to come into our gaming universe." I totally understand what he's saying, but you shouldn't have said it.
Yeah, in basic terms, or like just dumbed down terms, he's saying, if you can't afford the Switch 2, buy the Switch.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I understood that, but I was just like, what? Why would he say that?
Exactly, right?
This is one of those where it's like, come, Nintendo, you're the one that we pointed to for not being the one to say this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, the one thing that people have pointed to all week is, well, if you can't have a stable connection to the internet at all times, that's why we have an alternative solution called the Xbox 360. That's what everyone has turned to all week.
I've seen that so many times
this week, dude.
Yeah, have I.
Because that's what it is. Like, look, can we all admit that what he's saying is factual? Yeah, I mean, it technically is.
Yeah.
It's shitty, but it's factual. I mean, it's not. It's one of those things where it's like, when you have a new console, right? Like we can all agree the economy is shit, right? But when you have like a new console release, Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch 2, whatever, it's going to be more expensive than the previous in most cases. I mean, that's just hardware that goes into it, whatever, right? But it's like, you don't go around saying that as the CEO of a company.
I mean,
that's going to ruffle feathers.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, in this context, I feel like his was sort of should have been a safer bet, because more or less the thing of it is a hard economy. I mean, the whole tariff issue. So the price may go up more. I don't know the context of what the interview was at that point. Right. So I mean, him being like, we understand like not everyone will be able to afford the Switch 2 right offhand, But for those who still want to enjoy the Switch family, we do have our first Switch console for people to be able to join in with Switch and whatnot. Versus the idiot that was during the Xbox One and 360 area,
The head of Xbox at the time.
where he was legitimately slightly being vicious towards his own community.
Which killed the console.
Well, the other thing is, this comment would make more sense if you weren't referring to, like, saying, oh, you can join the Switch family still by purchasing a Switch. The Switch is one of the best-selling consoles of all time.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody hell, Alex has like 5 of them.
A lot of people have multiple Switches.
It's like families have them, and then they buy more for every member of their family.
Yep.
Everybody has them. They're going to end up wanting the Switch 2 for the new games that are no longer going to be
On
being
the Switch.
sold for the original Switch.
True.
They want to be able to play the games they have and have them run better. It's just one of those where it's like you gotta be aware that, like, you can't just tell people to go buy a Switch. They probably have 3. It's like that's not helpful to them.
Right. Yeah. It's not helpful to them, and then just also, I also feel like if we weren't in the state that we are with the economy, this comment, it would have still gained some heat. Let's be honest.
Oh,
But
it would have.
Maybe it wouldn't have gained as much heat. You know what I mean? Like maybe the heat wouldn't have been as aggressive if the economy was in a different state. Because that's what everyone is pointing to with all this comment and the price situation. It's like, well, it's a lot of stuff out of their control. You got to understand that, which sucks. But
There is one other point that I saw get brought up with this as well, and it is the thing of getting into buying a Switch, getting into that Switch family. It's like, yeah, it's pretty cheap to buy a Switch these days, but at the same time, Nintendo games they never go down in price.
No.
yeah, God.
So
no.
it's like, even if there are the people out there that don't have a Switch, and they're like, I'll just pick up a Switch instead of a Switch 2. They're still going to be paying $50, $60 for games that came out 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to still look better than when they look at the Switch 2 and they're $80.
I know, but still,
Yep.
it's one of ththose where it's like, even if you buy the console at the cheaper price point, or like the older console at the cheaper price point, you're still buying just games that are, because typically if a game's been out for 6 years, you can find it for $30, $40 or something, because every other manufacturer realizes they're like, oh, well, over time we got to reduce the price on these games. Not Nintendo. Nintendo, it's like, this game was $60 6 years ago, and they're like, yeah, $60, please.
Yeah.
It's still a new copy that hasn't been broken.
Yeah.
Even when Nintendo does have sales, like around the holiday season, their sales are like, well, now you can buy it for $55 instead of $60.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's like 10, 20%. I think I've maybe only seen something on sale in this Switch store for like 40% off once.
Yeah, no, in terms of like true Nintendo first parties, those maybe go down at most like 10, 20 bucks.
I was about to say the cheapest one I ever see is the Mario and Rabbids.
Well, since that one is also developed by Ubi as well.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why it goes that
Yep.
low. But like if we're talking like Zelda, Mario Kart, no shot. And that's part of like the kind of the really crappy situation is with the introduction of $80 games. It's like you see that $80 price tag for Mario Kart, buddy, you better buckle up because that's what you're buying it for. The cheapest you're going to get it maybe a couple years from now, like 3 or 4 years from now, is maybe like $60 on Black Friday if you're lucky. Like I'm just keeping it real. You're buying that game for $80, buddy.
Yeah, you'll be getting a 20% discount for $60.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like Jesus Christ, because that's just Nintendo's philosophy, and they've been on record about this. Is they just believe in the quality of Nintendo's titles.
Yes.
That is what it's about. And they do not believe the quality should be diminished and put at a lower price point.
Yeah, it's just, that's another thing I had seen on it where it's like, yeah, even if you enter this like Nintendo Switch family of platforms now, it's still not cheap to buy Switch games.
No.
It's never going to be cheap to buy Switch games.
No, that's just the Nintendo way. Which, that whole idea behind like the price point and stuff, I can't tell you guys how many times like earlier this week I was just like, because I had to go out of town this week, nice like 4 to 4.5 hour drive, there and back, so grand total like 8 to 9 hours. A lot of time to sit and stew. You know what I mean? And I stewed a lot over the price point stuff where it's just like, Again, like with the whole concept of that $80 price point being introduced in Mario Kart, it's like, number one, we all knew it was going to happen. We all knew $80 games were coming. 90's coming as well. 100's going to come as well. At some point, whether if it's next generation or not, it's coming. We all know it's coming. But like I was sitting there just stewing on the $80 thing where it's like, yeah, it's just 10 more bucks, sure. But it's also like I can't get over that Mario Kart World is the one to do it. Like, I understand it's going to be a massive selling family game. I get it. My mindset, and I've gone back and forth on this all week, and I do not think my mind can be changed, is them putting it at $80 is for two reasons. It's like, number one, they know they can exploit their audience because it's going to be a high selling game. And number two, you're only putting it at that price point because it's Mario. That's it. Like, you can't, like, look, I can name off so many other games, and I know some of them are older, so I get a different time of when it came out, where it's just like, okay, then why wouldn't this be at 80? 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 Because, I mean, like in terms of Mario Kart World, I mean, all you're looking at is it's Forza Horizon Mario Kart. That's what it is. So it's that Forza Horizon 5, Game of the Year nominee. I know it was a few years ago. Don't burn me at the stakes on that. So why wasn't that at 80? Okay, why wasn't Baldur's Gate 3 at 80? That's a great historical made game. I know it was a couple years ago. But it's just like, it's Mario Kart. You know it's going to sell because it's Mario Kart. Well, you're just selling me on a Mario Kart that you can exploit your audience on it, and it makes me so angry.
Well, you gotta. Here's the perfect argument for you here. It's two different mindsets on like the philosophy on how to sell a game, because there's a great example to point to here. Expedition 33.
Yeah.
They are releasing that game at a $50 price point,
right?
Because they believe they have made a quality game that they want as many people to be able to enjoy as possible.
True.
That's why it's not at a $60, $70 price tag.
Right.
Is they said they were like, we want more people to be able to play this game. If it's more expensive, people won't be able to play it.
Right.
And then meanwhile, you have Nintendo going, people are going to buy this no matter what. We are going to charge more money for it because profit.
Yep.
It's just the two different mindsets with it.
It is.
When like, it's like, yeah, you're Nintendo. You're gonna sell. It's like you're gonna sell millions of copies of most of the games that you put out there.
Right.
Why not get an extra $10 million? Or like say Mario Kart World only sold $1 million. Why not get an extra $10 million out of it?
Right. Right.
But I mean, that's the philosophy behind the business of it, rather than
True.
We've made a game that we just want you to enjoy and play.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's what makes me so mad about the situation. You know what I mean?
That's why I've already said the chances of me buying a Switch 2
are going down by the day.
It's gonna be dependent on if the price goes up anymore, and like frankly, the availability of the next Pokemon game.
True.
Yep.
True.
It's like I may not get one until
Gen 10.
Yeah, because if the price on the Switch 2 goes up, I'm not going to get one this year probably.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll wait for Gen 10. If it doesn't go up, I might go ahead and get one and just play Legends on it, and then just wait for Gen 10 then.
Yeah, true. At least, I guess one plus side of the whole thing is that you can still play these games on your current Switch. It may run not as great, but you can still play it. You can play Legends this year.
The only hopeful thing with like Legends running on the Switch is the fact that they actually took the time to let it cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we know what happens when you give a team the time to let it cook. I mean, on my personal Switch, I cannot play Breath of the Wild because the game does not run well. Yet I could play Tears of the Kingdom and it runs smooth.
No sense.
It's like, that doesn't make sense, but it's like, I've tried to play Breath of the Wild. It doesn't run well.
Right.
But you give a team 5-6 years to work out Tears of the Kingdom, they can extract every little bit out of that hardware they can. And
they did.
Granted, we didn't get that much time on Legends, but we got a year and a half, 2 years since it was announced of extra time on it. So hopefully it runs well.
Yeah. No, that's my mindset, is that with the extra time they've taken with Legends ZA, man, I'm in the mindset. It's like, that shit better run well. After the disaster that was Scarlet and Violet, that shit better run well. And honestly, after the disaster of Scarlet and Violet, you promised a free patch for Scarlet and Violet for Nintendo Switch 2. That shit better fix some stuff. I'm gonna tell you right up front.
I doubt it's gonna fix enough.
Yeah, I agree to that. I agree to that. Oh God, no! That everything with Nintendo, it has been a wild week. I'll tell you that. So, with the pre-order stuff, I'm still, we talked about it last week where you asked like, is anything make you want to get a day one? And my answer was still no, and it still is no. Honestly, I might try to snag one day one so I can potentially avoid a higher price.
I was about to say
point.
the only reason I would grab one now is just to get that early adopter price.
Yeah, that's so. I know she's planning to try to get one affirmed, whatever, because she's got a lot of stuff that she wants to play on it, and that makes sense for her because for context, my wife plays like. Well, now that she's gotten incredibly into Monster Hunter on the PlayStation,
I was gonna say she's
the handheld
by far
gamer.
the more of like the Nintendo handheld type
Steam
player
Deck.
than we
She
are.
plays an ungodly amount of Steam Deck, a lot of Nintendo, handhelds like that. With her Switch, I don't think she's ever played it in docked. Honestly, any Switch that she has, so it makes sense for her that she's planning to get one. That we're planning to get one for her. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to get one for me so I can get this early price because I want it for Pokemon. It's that simple.
I was gonna say, meanwhile, like for me, I buy the Switch for exclusives.
Yep.
I have a Steam Deck because I like the option of being able to play it wherever I want to go.
Right.
But I'm not necessarily a handheld player unless I have to be.
Right, and that's fair. So that's me for the most part. I have enjoyed playing some handheld Pokemon this week, just like before bed, kind of dick off and shiny hunt. But I'd rather sit down, grab a controller, play on the TV. I will say before I got my OLED, I played handheld very little. Once I got the OLED, I played it a little bit more, but not. It wasn't a 50-50 split. I'll tell you that. I was still mostly a console gamer, on the TV. But I don't know. Either way, it's been an interesting thing to follow everything with Nintendo this week. Hopefully the pre-order date of May 9th does actually stick, especially since the tariffs have been paused for 90 days, which the 90 days would be up sometime in July. So enough time to launch the console at the price that they're saying they're going to launch it at, sell the console at a loss, and then evaluate from there if they got to go up or not. So anyway, May 9th, current date. All right, let's shout out some merch. Let's shout Agent Inc. as well as our merch store. Go down to the referral link down below for Agent Inc. Go pick up a jersey or a hat with a trash can hat, Spark 3 hat, the Spark 3 jersey, or head over to spark3shop.com. You can get the We Have Hats hat, get the B shirt, or one of the other various shirts that we got, like the Lonely Boy, ATFS, Sparky 3, and the Gamestetic controllers. 5 ways to play. Use the referral link down below for Agent Inc. or go over to sparky3shop.com and pick up some stuff there as well.
It's been so long. What the heck is Lonely Boy?
That's one of Josh's art pieces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little ghosty one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Lonely Boy. One of Josh's art pieces. So shout out to our boy Josh. He also designed that bee. And
I knew the bee was his.
in like 5 minutes. I love the bee. He did an updated bee recently. A lot smoother, cleaned out. I'm like, but the ruggedness of the OG one's what makes it great. Like that's what makes it awesome. I love the bee. I love the bee, man. The bee's awesome. Alrighty. Anything you guys want to shout out? We got the marathon gameplay reveal to hit on, and then kind of go from there.
My biggest thing, Zenless had a bunch of stuff come out this week. Showed off 1.7, the stuff that's going to finish up what they're calling Season 1 of Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah.
The end of the main storyline, the epilogue, finishing up all the story we've had since the game released in July last year. Last 2 characters coming out with Season 1, a bunch of events going on and whatnot. And then they showed off some stuff in a dev talking about 2.0 and Season 2 of the new zone we'll be going around in. Possibly the first new character for Season 2 who's also going to be probably a busted character because it'll be our second Void Hunter character, and our current only Void Hunter character is sort of busted. So yeah, she's going to be entertaining. Shut off some of that stuff, more or less just telling us that some gameplay design changes with Season 2 and things like that, as well as with Season 2, Zenless Zone Zero will be on Xbox with 2.0.
Shout
So
out.
Xbox player will be able to join in, and pretty much all the content from Season 1 plus the start of Season 2 will be accessible.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the news about it coming to Xbox, so shout out to that.
It's still, the Zenless team trolled the shit out of the community because on April Fools they released a Bang Boo teaser, the next Bang Boo, which was going to be X Boo, and it was done by them in full regular art style they do for whatever new Bang Boos comes out with a set of characters when a new faction's introduced. And everyone's just like, oh, this actually looks really awesome. Then it's like, oh, it's April 1st. Damn, they got us, guys. Freaking, not even like 4 days later, they go, we're setting up an Xbox dev stream for Zenless Stone's Era. And I went, God damn it, they got us again. All of us, like, it was an April Fool's joke. It's not coming to Xbox. We really wish it'd come to Xbox. Oh, we're coming to Xbox. God damn it!
Oh, God.
The community as a whole was just like...
Double bamboozled.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, shout out to Zenless Zone Zero. What about you, John? You got anything?
Well, give you do an update on some games I've been playing.
Nice.
I told you guys right before we started. I did finally check out the Monster Hunter title update. Because I was excited. I was more excited about Mitsuzune coming back rather than the high rank Zoshia fight. But I mean, it's a fun fight. It's like I remembered it. I would like a tempered or arch tempered version of it because it dies real fast. Did the Zoshia fight a couple times. Did it, it's like fought it by myself the first time, and then did it co-op a couple times with a buddy of mine. It's not too bad of a fight. I had heard that it was a hard fight or something. It wasn't too bad. It's mainly like two main attack strings that you got to kind of keep an eye out for and make sure you don't get hit by, because if you get hit by him, you're basically just dead. But the fight itself, it's a fun fight. Like really enjoy the fight because like I didn't remember it at all because you do it once in the story. But yeah, that's real fun. I like the gathering hub area that they made because like they had one in like World and that, but gathering hub's kind of it's a fairly spacious area. It looks kind of nice. And they have like the arena. They added the arena fights and stuff in from there where you can do like the leaderboard fights and that. Haven't done any of that yet. But mainly just jump back in, did a few hunts. Still got to fight Zoshia plenty more times to make the weapon and armor. But I will get around to that at some point. It's kind of just like I can hop in and do it whenever. Hop in, hop out kind of. So, I mean, that's kind of Monster Hunter update. It's a good update. Looking forward to, I think later in the month we get Arch Tempered right now, which that'll be fun. I like that fight, but it's one of those where at least the base version and the tempered version as a hammered player kind of just knock them all over the place. You don't get to move around a whole lot, so we'll see if that changes in the Arch Tempered fight when that comes later this month.
There was some fight Christina was doing earlier. I don't know which one it was, but she made the comment where she's like, I cannot imagine John doing this with the hammer. She's like, I only imagine this being absolute hell. I don't know which fight it was, though. Maybe what was it called? I think she said it was like the main one from 4 is like Gormagala.
Gormagala sucks with hammer.
Okay, so maybe that's the one that she was referring to. I think she fought that a couple times.
That's probably still my worst fight in the game.
Okay, that's probably that one then, because I think she was fighting that one earlier and she was getting real pissed, and she was like, I can't imagine John doing this with hammer.
Yeah, that's probably my worst fight in the game.
Okay,
still.
all right.
I've fought it plenty of times, or I fought it enough times to like make what I wanted to from it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. If I have to go back and fight it, I don't look forward to it. That's not a fun one.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But then I've also kept going on First Berserker Kazan. Got back to that, but playing it more frequently now. Took a few days off of it when I was playing Sworn. And kind of like I told you guys before this, last time I talked about it was I spent about 5 hours fighting a boss named Maluka in there, and before I finally took him down. And now, as I've been playing it since then, it kind of feels like I've gone through my training arc and had my montage moments. And now I've just been steamrolling everything there. I'm kind of waiting on the next roadblock to hit me. 'Cause it hadn't really happened yet. I have a feeling there's probably one coming up.
Right.
Because that was probably like, I don't know, like a third of the way into the game, maybe a little more than that. So maybe I got another one coming my way that's gonna stump me a little bit, but hadn't quite happened yet. So I'm waiting on that next roadblock where I really gotta just like settle in.
Yeah, lock in.
But yeah, I mean, I gotta say, at least so far this year, First Berserker Kazan is probably far and away my favorite game that's come out.
Nice. Hey, shout out.
It's one of those. It's nice to have a game that like looked cool when it came out, was really looking forward to, especially a game that's not my genre of game.
Yeah, that's another thing to point out here.
And sit there and just every time I hop into it, I just absolutely fucking love it.
Yeah. Man, we're gonna have a pretty sweet looking Gamesthetic bracket here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Don't shake your head. It's gonna be cool.
Hey, whether we do a bracket or a top 10, whatever it is, for the first time ever, we're gonna have a Souls game on that list.
Let's
boys.
go.
Or a
Souls-like.
I was about to say Souls-like game.
Yeah, we're paying respect to the genre.
But yeah, I've enjoyed this far and away more than I have because I've gone most of the way through Dark Souls. I've tried Elden Ring a couple times. Played a little bit of Bloodborne back in the day. This is the first one where I'm like, this is my game right here.
Right.
Question for you guys: did either of y'all see Ben Starr accepting Balattro's BAFTA?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Have you seen this, John?
No.
It is fantastic.
Dude.
He's in the full gesture costume, and he has a written thing from Balattro's developer, and just it's a slight attack on the industry, slightly, and then just him being full that gesture character in character accepting the award.
Ben Starr's a legend. Yeah, no, I saw that came through where it's just like, Balatro won the, what was it again?
I don't remember what the BAFTA was.
Okay, well they won that. It's just like, oh, the creator, wasn't there, keeping his anonymous vibe, whatever. It wasn't till later when I saw it again and someone added the context notes where it's like, this was actually Ben Starr himself. I'm like, was it?
Yeah,
I went
Ben Starr.
I went and listened to it and watched it again. I'm like, oh shit, that is Ben Starr.
That is Clive from Final Fantasy. He is
Shout
also
out.
the gesture of Balatro.
Yeah, shout out. What a legend.
If you need to look that up later, John, it's pretty good.
I may look it up later.
That's actually a good transition here because speaking of Ben Starr, he's also not only is he the jester and he's also going to be a character in Expedition. He's Clive, but he was also the narrator of this marathon gameplay reveal. Did you guys watch this?
I watched a bit of it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it all. I watched a little bit of it. Did you check it out at all?
I turned it on at noon and then started playing something and
Got distracted.
didn't pay attention
Yeah.
to a single. I'll probably watch it because I'll probably go back and watch it because, like, of the three of us, I'm probably the extraction gameplay
this
player.
is
Yeah.
targeted to you. Yeah.
So it's like this is probably something that I've shown no interest in it up to this point because
We didn't really know what to expect.
We don't know
Yeah.
what it is. We don't know what it's going to look like. So I'll probably go back and at least watch a little bit of it.
right.
And even then, I'm not the biggest
I was about to say, out of all of us, none of us are huge on extraction shooters.
It's like I've tried to get into them.
And years of
I played a little bit of Tarkov. I did not enjoy that.
yeah,
I played more of a game that was only around for a limited period of time called the Psycho Frontier.
is it dead?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that died.
yeah.
Damn.
That's gone. I enjoyed that game. The only thing with that was I would play it like kind of with my buddies.
Yeah.
And they got real far ahead of where I was at. So like kind of going back and trying to help me do kind of the newbie stuff. And it was one of those things where it's like when people are trying to help you and you're dying over and over again, it's like, man, this kind of sucks. But the game itself was probably the most fun I've had in one of those types of games.
I was about to say your extraction games are more like Dark and Darker and things like that.
I've enjoyed that more. Usually just because it's one of those where I don't typically play a lot of shooters.
Yeah.
But I've been playing them more and more lately, so I'd probably be more interested in this. This is mostly going to be like price wise what it ends up being.
Which that was one of the talking points when everything was said and done, because we did get the release date of September 23rd. There is a closed alpha sign up, which you can join their Discord to join that sign up process. Open beta coming later. It will not be free to play. It is called a premium title, but Marathon themselves have confirmed that it will not be $70 and it will be set at a lower price point. So that's good that you're not going to just throw it out there at $70 like Concord and watch it die.
I mean, honestly, I for a game type like this, I'd be fine putting it at $50-$60.
Right.
Like, give it that I mean, $70. They've already said they're not doing 70.
Yeah.
But if you make it a paid entry, you're gonna help combat one of the biggest things, which is gonna be the cheaters that would show up in this game.
Yes.
Right.
Because it's that's usually what destroys. Like that was part of the problem with Cycle Frontier. Got rid of the cheaters, and which ended up like partly helping kill the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the thing is, it's like if you make a good version of it, people will play it.
Yeah.
People love playing it. Tarkov's a buggy mess, and people love that game.
Right. I'm feeling like 40 or 50 is what it's going to come at. Since they confirmed the not 70,
I would
feeling
assume
40 or
50. 50 is the safe bet there.
Yeah. Especially with calling it like a premium title and everything. And just like, I mean, what they showed like looks good. It looks smooth.
I mean,
looks
it
good.
didn't look bad.
Yeah, no, it's just not for us per se, except for maybe John. But I'm not going to sit here and shit on it and say that it looked more entertaining than Concord. And I'm saying that because everyone and their mother, for some reason, is like, oh, this could be a Concord too. I'm like,
Yeah, I saw that as well.
yeah, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw that nonstop. It's like, oh, this is Concord too. This is Concord too. It's like, will you calm down? No,
I mean,
it's not.
Concord 2 was a team shooter. This is an extraction shooter. Extraction shooters are still actually very relevant.
I think that they're also throwing that out there because they think it's gonna flop like Concord, and it's just like you need to all understand Concord was honestly like a once in a generation fuck up because Herman Holst like would not take any form of criticism for the game that would have made it better, and he just thought it was perfect. When it obviously wasn't. So that was an anomaly. We can all agree Concord was an anomaly.
Yeah.
This will not be a Concord.
I was gonna say, kind of like what Zach said. It's like Concord was a mediocre hero shooter, arriving where there are like top tier versions of it. And it's like, why would someone pay for an inferior product of it?
Yeah, exactly.
This is
people,
going to,
and people are tired of those top tier ones at that.
Yeah.
and it's like this is going into a genre that, like, it's not as it's not as big as it was like 2 or 3 years ago, but it is one where it's like that's because there haven't been games coming out for it.
Yeah.
And it's like when a good one shows up, it's like you see people kind of come out of the woodworks. They've been fiending for it.
Yeah, and the thing with extraction shooters, I can't think of a title off the top of my head. I'll just go like, yeah, that's the extraction shooter. I mean, people could say Escape from Tarkov, but even still on that, I mean,
that's
50-50.
Escape from Tarkov is currently the biggest like what people are trying to achieve with extraction shooters.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's the like the Big Daddy OG there.
Okay, I knew it was like one of the originals. I didn't realize it was the peak point because I don't keep up with extraction shooters. But.
Yeah, it's like it leans heavy into the hardcore version of it, whereas like when the Cycle Frontier was around, it was a more beginner friendly version of it. And then depending on how this goes, like because games come out for that genre all the time, it's just like
I guess
it's easier to make a game in that genre if it's not a shooter.
Yeah.
So it's like we see more games that have like melee combat focuses with it.
See, I guess my other go-to for extraction shooter would be Hunt Showdown.
I guess technically that is.
It is technically an extraction.
It's technically an extraction shooter. That kind of exists in its own little world.
It does.
Because it's one of those weird things where you never hear anybody talk about Hunt Showdown, but that is one of the biggest games out there
Yep.
that the fan base is fucking rabid over.
Yeah. There were some slight issues and concerns whenever they released the mountain map and the new hunt at the time. But yeah, it's technically an extraction shooter.
But yeah, that's one of those where it's like, would people like if it like I think a buddy of mine has talked to me about trying to play it before, and I'm like, what is it? And he goes, it's hunt, because that's the best way to describe it. It's its own type of game.
But to make it more consistent, it is an extraction shooter. You go in, get an objective, get out.
Yeah.
But Marathon overall, I mean, depending on the price point, it's one that I would take a glance at. I would definitely be more curious about the open beta. Whenever that gets announced, I'll definitely try and get into that or mess with that. It's an open beta, so I should be able to get into it to really get a feel for it and determine whether I would buy it. Because, I mean, the big thing about it, from what I did watch in terms of just how it played and everything, did seem good. The whole different characters' play styles, the bit that they showed off of it, how each, what they call them? Runners.
Yep.
Plays is fairly intriguing. I mean, it's nothing too out of left field for a shooter or anything. So, I mean, it's enough that's intrigued me enough where I'll at least give it a test run and see where it goes.
Yeah. They also really detailed that like picking your runner is like literally just the start of how your gameplay is going to go.
Yeah, because they all went
you
on
would
how
hope
the
so.
whole
Yeah, right.
all the loadouts, because they said there was like different things with the guns and whatnot.
Right.
Because like even one of the things they showed, like you have like the regular iron sight scope, but then you can have like a side scope you equip to increase your view range and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I was listening to a little bit of that of just how in depth just customization things will end up being.
Right.
I didn't watch this as a very basic question, but a very important question. There's a central hub that you start at before you go on a run, right?
No clue.
They didn't mention
see that
anything
part.
like central hub.
Because they say something about factions, so I can only assume that like before you go into a run, you're in an area where there's like potentially like vendors or something.
I would
like
assume
that.
so, because I thought the faction part was pretty neat, where it's like factions can like sponsor you as you whatever runner you are, or even sponsor your loadout. I was like, that's pretty cool.
See, I wasn't really sure what they meant by that, because when they said factions and whatnot, I wasn't sure how to take that.
I would assume that because usually how that is it's just like, because if there was like a hub area, they'd be like, okay, to the west you have this faction, you go talk to them to do their quest line, or you could go talk to the people over here to do their quest line.
Well, the whole thing about that was when they mentioned the faction thing, they were talking about how in the extraction part of this game is if you die, you could be your loot's up for grabs. You could just lose everything, and they were like, if you're like just down on your luck and you just keep losing everything, they then mentioned the factions could sponsor you, and all it made me think of was in Hunt Showdown how there's free characters that already have like loadouts and whatnot that you can just grab and play out if you're just been losing a lot and losing all your like bot hunters and whatnot. So all in my mind, I was just like, it's their lore way of saying your free picks if you like don't have your currency or whatnot, or been losing a lot and you don't have any gear to spec yourself out with.
See, that's one thing I wish more extraction games would do is Dark and Darker is not as big as it was.
No.
But they had one of my favorite things in any extraction game that I've tried to play, which is you pick a character, and no matter which character you pick, from the moment you select that character, there's a base loadout.
Yes.
The gear is terrible, but you have something to go in with, no matter if you're down on your luck. If you could have a stash full of all the best gear in the game, but you can also take all that off, throw and just have your base loadout of nothing gear and just go in if you wanted to.
See, and that's sort of how I took however they mentioned the faction. I mean, there may be more in depth with it come the game's release and as we find out more, because it's Bungie, and
True.
that would not surprise me if they do something like that, where if you do specific daily quests or specific quests in extract in the missions for factions, you get some better gear you can get acquired from and whatnot. That's sort of how I saw it. It's like they sponsor your loadout, so they have like a faction specific loadout you can run with.
That's probably a good way to look at it, honestly.
Yeah. Because that's how I took it whenever they said
Yeah,
that.
like a faction loadout. Like, hey, we're going to sponsor you, and we're going to sponsor your loadout today. Here's the loadout. That's probably what it is.
And that's literally was just them saying in lore fashion of, hey, if you've been just getting stomped and you have nothing here, you don't have to worry about not having anything.
Right. Which, in terms of getting stomped, that is one thing they talked about is that, the game is meant to get you killed. They said that they believe basically accomplishing the goal here is like they're thinking it's going to be very comfortably below 50% in terms of completing the extractions, whatever. So they're expecting this game to be pretty tough for the players, just because like no match will ever be the same, dynamic weather and events and everything taking place. So
I'm assuming, because I haven't heard otherwise, I'm assuming this is just you load into a map, you're looking to just go in, get loot, get out.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you die, your loot's up for grabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they say, and they mean everything. So even like they may have a way to be able to safeguard equipment. And
Usually most of the games like this have, most of the shooter variants of these games have like an unsure gear option where you can insure certain parts of gear, which basically is just if you die in the map and no one loots your gear after like 7 hours or something, it'll show back up.
Yeah, they didn't mention anything, at least on the bits that I watched, but how they expressed it, they were like, if you dead, everything on your body's up for grabs.
Yeah, that's what I gathered too. But again, I didn't watch the entire thing. But I think I remember hearing that part.
They didn't mention anything about insurance, at least during the part that I watched during the initial sort of introduction of the game and just them going over like the basic mechanics and whatnot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is a thing because, as you said, that's fairly standard in these types of games, John. But from the base of what I got is you got your different characters, you have your gun loadouts. If you die, everything's up for grabs. As you said, you just sort of spawn on a map as either a trio or you can just go in solo if you feel like being a badass. It's PvEVP, so there is a AI on there that you're going to shoot up. They actually did mention something about missions and whatnot for factions now that I think about it, about like you can do like specific things to get a hold of like key cards and whatnot to get into like specific vaults with better loot and whatnot, yada yada yada.
Yeah, because that was, I mean, it all mostly makes sense because loot not showing up, or like if you die, your loot's gone. It's pretty standard because usually, or it's pretty much like, I mean, if you die, you lose what you have.
Yeah.
For the most part, and even then, like, I mean, it sounds like this game is made for a group of 3 to hop in.
Yep.
Usually, if you get in and someone dies, typically you grab all of their stuff that you can, try to get out, and then you just drop it down for them on the next run.
Yeah. And I mean, from what I saw, more or less, even if you do die, because from the gameplay I saw, you can go down and then be picked up that. But even if you like full on die, if someone, it didn't really show if you needed an item or not, but someone could just your teammate can run up to your death box and straight up revive you.
That would have to be an item because there were sometimes I've only really seen that in Dark and Darker.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, in that game you essentially grab their soul and deck them to a resurrection altar.
Yeah. And I mean, again, they didn't specify. It was just literally on the gameplay thing of just because it showed a team getting murked and then the other team that murked them running off and their third teammate running up to their loot box and just said hold square whatever to revive and just full on res them from their death box.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like what I would expect out of one of these games for the most part. So I'll probably try to look at some of what they put out and then kind of just wait for more information. Hope for an open beta.
There's supposed to be an open beta at some
is.
point.
Yeah,
Which I'll check it out.
If there's going to be an open beta, I'll play in it because, I mean, again, extraction shooters aren't typically my game, but I enjoy them enough when I have a group to play with, and I'm sure if there's an open beta, me and some buddies will check it out.
And I mean, the one last aspect on gameplay they mentioned is that each map does have a time limit. I don't know if they specifically said how much time, but
I would assume because standard for the shooter variants of the games are like, depending on map size, like 30 to 70 minutes.
I'm going to say it's going to be close to 30 because I think what they said a max of, was it only like 14, 15 people?
I think so.
So, I mean, in teams of 3, so that's very small.
Yeah, but usually you have like a larger map because then you can, you want to have enough you want it to last long enough to be able to comfortably go from like one side of the map to the other while looting, and then also be able to get to your extraction point. Because depending on the game type, sometimes you have fixed extraction points that you like in Tarkov, you load in and the first thing you do is you tap to figure out where your extraction points are.
Gotcha.
And then you kind of just loot on your way there.
Yeah, that's sort of the same one with Hunt because the extraction points are stationary on each map.
Yeah, it's one where it's like in Tarkov, the points are stationary, but which ones you get per run are randomized.
It's the same with Hunt. But yeah, in which I don't know if they mentioned that in there about extractions. I mean, from what I saw, it seemed like there were several different styles of extraction, so I assume there's going to be multiple across the map. And but they didn't really show whether they'd be stationary or not. Because like, it looked like there was like one that would teleport you away. One was literally you taking a airship off planet.
Yeah, that's what Cycle was. Cycle was you would start or you would call down an airship.
Yeah.
Which would take some time to get there, and then you'd have to hop on. But then the entire time you're waiting on it, you're just like wondering if people are just waiting to shoot you as soon as you come out.
Yeah, and then there was one other one I saw, but they showed like 3 different extraction styles.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just look forward to like an open beta now at this point, and more information, which they said they'd be coming out with over the summer.
But they did also put on there, if you join their Discord, there is apparently information on how to join a closed alpha on their Discord.
Yep, which that is an option for it. So, no, shout out to Marathon, shout out to Bungie for putting out a new game. I feel like a lot's riding on this game for Bungie, personally.
If nothing else, it's Bungie. The shooting will feel good.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's the main reason I was super interested to see more. It's like, well, it's Bungie. Shooting's going to feel great. That's the main thing.
Oh, we didn't even mention that. So see in the notes, apparently they mentioned season reset model, similar to Diablo 4.
Yep.
That's standard for this.
Is it standard?
Games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually they, depending on the game, the seasons change time, but it's usually between a 3 and 6 month window.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically at that point, all character inventory, character stats, character like progression and everything gets wiped.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that because the only sort of extraction I pay attention to is Hunt, and you don't really need that for Hunt.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
In all the different like extraction type games I've played, they basically just do a wipe every 3 to 6 months. It's basically just an economy reset so that because it's really like the first few weeks where everybody's kind of going in with shitter gear.
Yeah.
And then the later in you get it, everybody's just going in like juice to the gills. And then I personally find like the beginning more fun than the end.
Oh, most definitely.
I think a lot of people do, yeah. All right. You guys ready to go through the rest of the weekly wrap-up? Get out of here?
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing that I've got, which is one of our last title topic just to touch on because it's news, it's good news, is the Xbox Showcase is confirmed for June 8th, that's Sunday, plus the Outer Worlds 2 Direct to immediately follow it. So I guess, anytime you see like that immediate direct to follow it, that's always kind of like the signal of like, all right, this is Xbox's big game. You know what I mean?
What I saw when they announced Outer Worlds 2 is I saw somebody who went, guess that means Gears not coming out this year.
Yeah, no, it is not. Gears of War E-Tay will absolutely not be happening. I am pumped for the Xbox Showcase because I think we can all agree that showcase is one that usually doesn't really disappoint, whether if it's from first party or just third party, there's always just a lot of cool stuff in there.
I mean, it
big or
always
small.
disappoints in just that we always come out asking the same question: release dates.
Yeah, that is true.
Well-
that is very true.
Last year was the first one because usually it's usually like the third party stuff is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year was the first one we were like, man, that whole showcase was good.
Yeah,
I
that
know.
one was
So-
actually very solid.
It'll be hard for them to top
It's going to be a
last
coin
year's.
toss.
Yeah.
because I have a feeling that half of the stuff from last year's is just going to be shown again.
Yeah, see,
Probably.
that's the issue because everything most stuff we got shown last year has not come out yet. So it's just like, God bless.
And we already know some of it's still not coming out this year.
Yeah, I know, Fable. Looking at you, buddy.
And Gears now.
Yeah, and Gears. So I don't know. It's gonna be a fun showcase. I might try streaming it. We'll see because it'll be on a Sunday, so I'll be off. I'm pretty excited for it. For all the possible announcements. I know one announcement that it looks like it's probably gonna be there is that Persona 4 remake will probably be there. So that's cool. That's cool. I am hoping for some release dates though. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? Like, all right, is Perfect Dark coming out this year or no? I'm saying no, but is it? We need to know. Is it finally time to see the long fabled Everwild? Is that gonna happen? We'll see. Probably not. Apparently, Contraband is still in development. Shout out to that. I just saw that this week. I forgot to include in the weekly wrap up. I think it was updated on someone's LinkedIn profile that they're actively working on Contraband. You know, the game that we literally just saw a box come down saying Contraband, and that was it. We got nothing else.
All we know is it's some sort of co-op shooter.
Yeah, so that's still in development. So maybe we'll finally see that. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, shout out to the Xbox Game Showcase on June 8th and the Outer Worlds 2 Direct, which shout out for it getting its own entire Direct. Outer Worlds was a very critically acclaimed game. I think it was nominated for Game of the Year for a couple different publications. So it getting its full Direct, that's like the signifying this is our game for the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still have it on my plan to go back and play Outer Worlds before the second one comes out because I never finished it the first time around.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and play it because the game was really fun.
Yes.
I had my own little nitpicky things with it, but that I can get around. It was just the game was fun. I want to go back and finish it. It's been on my list to go back and finish for a long time.
It's what Bethesda's game should have been.
Oh, yeah. Right. What, Starfield?
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Ubisoft is continuing to die on their hill that you don't own your games.
They're still dying.
I know they are actively, but they are dying on that hill. Someone else big at Ubisoft came out this week. It's just like, I mean, no, when you buy, the digital games, whatever, you do not own your games. It's just like,
I mean, he's not technically wrong, but still.
he's not technically wrong.
I know.
But you don't ruffle feathers, buddy. You're already dying as a company,
I mean, they got bought out, but even their buyout partner's like, hey, y'all got to change stuff.
right?
Yeah. It's one of those where it's like, you got to stop saying that. Not everybody's as comfortable hearing that as I am.
Right.
Yes, we know we're just buying a licensing when we buy a digital version. You don't have to point it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I accepted that a long time ago. Most people didn't realize that.
Oh, next thing I've got here is Star Citizen has now reached over $800 million through crowdfunding
fact
over
this thing is
the last 13 years.
The fact this thing is crowdfunding is wild to me.
And it still does not have a release date.
It's still kind of just like a tech demo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
800 million through crowdfunding. And it's basically
This is going to be one of the most expensive crowdfunding games that never comes out.
God, don't say that. I hope it comes out for everyone.
It's been
that
13
put into
years,
I know
buddy.
it's been 13 years, man.
This is making. I mean, the one thing Star Citizen makes GTA 6 look like it's a fast firing, quick development game.
Oh God, that's great. That's a great comparison. Oh, facts though. Jesus Christ.
I mean, from my understanding, the person and team that's working on Star Citizen apparently still shows stuff off through their whatever platforms that people are able to see stuff. But at the same
they
time,
still show it off constantly.
but still at the same time, I'm just like, God damn.
It's like, when's something going to come out? Is something out in some capacity?
As John said, a tech demo.
It's kind of like you can. There's ships that you can kind of hop into and walk around, and you might be able to fly them around, but
Right.
it's not a
A game. game.
It's technically a game that works, but it's not like what we would refer to as a game.
Gotcha.
If Star Citizen ever comes out, it could be the second community similar to like EVE Online.
Okay.
Because is Star Citizen going to be single player or is it a multiplayer? I don't even remember now.
I think it was supposed to be a multiplayer game.
I was thinking
I think
it
it's
was supposed to have some
multiplayer.
multiplayer aspect as well.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be a multiplayer game, but
multiplayer.
I mean, as you said, it's been 13 years since I first heard about it, so.
Because, yeah, EVE Online is by far one of the most wildest galactic fake economy systems.
Yeah, it's
I shouldn't say fake.
You can't
'cause
say fake.
I can't say fake because it actually has a stark economy system, which anytime there's a war absolutely plummets.
Yeah, no, it's meant to be multiplayer. It's a crowdfunded first-person, massively multiplayer
But
space simulation game.
Let me rephrase that. EVE Online's digital economy. EVE Online's still wild to me.
Sorry, I was reading on Star Citizen. Yeah, no, shout out to Star Citizen. Racking up that money. Shout out to the EVE Online as well. Shout out to that. Then we got a new little rumor here. Apparently, there's a new prototype in the works. Claims a playtester.
I saw that.
I don't know if I buy that because if you were a playtester, I don't think you would reveal that information, even if you were anonymous. Because I feel like you could get narrowed down pretty easily. So I don't buy this one.
I mean, on the same time, if they're just a playtester, I mean, they could be playing just like one or two sections of game that may just show up in an entirely different game and may not even be a prototype.
That's true. That's true.
They literally maybe just told them like, this is sort of project name here. This is the levels.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, this might just be me having never played Prototype or anything. Is anybody asking for this?
There's a small community, but not a lot.
First prototype was fun. Never played the second.
The second one's sort of hit and miss. Some people liked it, others not so much. Because it was sort of a weeping story of a guy just chasing after our first game's pro tag.
Okay. Next up is following up on the rumor we talked about last week with Titanfall. Per Jeff Grubb, he says Titanfall 3 is not real. Stop it.
Titanfall does not exist.
Yeah.
Titanfall 3 isn't real. Stop. It can't hurt you.
Yeah, no, that's basically what he said. Is that he put out a tweet. He's like, I'm going live in 5 minutes. Gonna talk Titanfall. Get in here. And that's basically what it was. Titanfall. I saw all these rumors that it's 90% complete. The campaign's done. All this other stuff. Stop it. It's not real. Because there was a lot of rumors running quick this past week, like saying that the game was like literally 90% done. It was going to be set for a reveal this year, and release next year. Everything, the game's like 90% complete, and doing all this, and this, returning this, and Jeff just came and was like, "It's not real. It does not exist." They are still working on Apex. They are still working on Star Wars, and they're still working on another project that's not Titanfall. Stop it. Because Titanfall 3 this time did gain a lot of steam.
It can't be Titanfall 3. It's going to be Fall Titan.
Fall Titan. That's basically what it's become.
Titanfall 3, if you didn't know any better, you would assume it's been made by Valve.
Right. Jesus. All right. Next up, shout out to Dark and Darker. Finally gets its PvE exclusive adventure mode. So shout out to that. Already shout out the Baldur's Gate 3 patch and Zenless Zone. Fragpunk set for console on 4/29.
We didn't actually mention what came out in patch 8.
Yeah, we did.
We just mentioned it.
No, he mentioned it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he mentioned it's crossplay, 12 new subclasses.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I tuned that part out. Never mind. Carry on.
Yep.
Photo mode.
Fragpunk set for 4/29. Apparently, Mafia: The Old Country is apparently releasing on 8/8, according to blog posts on Steam. The release date kind of got updated on there. So that that's about what they said. They said summer. Yeah, it's still summer, so it'll be a good summer launch. That last week we mentioned the rumor of the Last of Us Complete edition featuring both games. That has now officially been announced. You can pre-order it now. It is a steelbook. It's coming out on July 10th, and I wanted to shout this out because we were questioning this last week. This is the 9th release of The Last of Us. I detailed it where first was the PS3 original game, then the PS4 remaster, the first game, then the PS4 version of the second game, then a PS5 enhanced version of the second game, and then PS5 Part 1, which is the remake, and then PS5 Part 2 remaster that we didn't need, and then the Part 1 PC port, Part 2 PC port, and now the complete. Shout out.
Yeah, because Part 2 Remaster was like only like 5 months after the enhanced, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the enhanced was just like a little patch, whatever, and then it's like, let's do a remaster. It's like, God bless, guys. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so this is now the 9th release of Last of Us. I will say, I love the art for the case. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's super, super sick. Where it's got the two versions of Ellie from Part 1 and 2 from the covers with like her tattoo kind of like tying them together, and then within the empty space, it makes out Joel's head. So super sick cover art. I'll tell them that. Super, super sick. For the people that did not realize that Joel's head is in the outline, it is. Because I did see comments where people did not realize that that was Joel in the middle. But super sick artwork. I will say that. Toys for Bob is pitching to do Banjo-Kazooie. I feel like this is just that open thing. It's like, we'll do it.
We're here.
Yeah, just give it to us. Trying to lobby for it, which I think we can. I think I can agree. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we would love Toys for Bob to do Banjo-Kazooie. That would be awesome. We saw what they did with Crash. Would love to see them bring back Banjo-Kazooie. That'd be sick. Rematch from the Sifu devs is set to launch on June 19th.
Hey, question. Did you see the video I sent you on TikTok today?
Not today, no.
So there's apparently a game called Tenants of the Spark, which is,
Haven't heard of that one.
which is still in development, but it's a Sifu style combat game in sort of like urban combat zones, but there's also a gameplay fixer where you're switching between your character who's in the urban time and then also sort of a alternate world where he's, at least in the thing I sent you, it was Viking-esque, but also in that Sifu combat style.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to go watch that. I'll watch that here after we finish up the show. Apparently, the Tomb Raider Amazon show that I completely forgot about, and probably so did a lot of people, appears to be dead, and it appears to be canceled. So, is what it is. An alleged Steam Deck prototype was apparently sold on eBay for $3,000. I did see images from the listing. This thing looked weird. They were really going for a different... If this is actually a Steam Deck prototype, which looks like it very well could be based on the overall design, they were really going for trying to maximize more on the touch pads more than anything. Like the touch pads were like massive circles on both the sides and the sticks above that. Yeah, very, very hideous looking thing. I don't know how it got passed around enough for someone to sell on eBay, but whoever got it, shout out. You got a nice little piece of history there. And the last thing I've got is Razer is now starting to pause sales in the U.S. over the tariffs. So, shout out to Razer, I guess. Just another nail in the coffin for some stuff.
Alienware only in the U.S.
Right. All right. I don't got anything else for weekly wrap-up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to shout out. I don't think so. You guys got anything? I don't think so either.
John?
I don't think I have anything.
All right, I got one thing.
And that would be...
Gamestetic Game of the Week.
Here we go.
So this week I am going to do God Hand on the PS2. If you don't know what this is, I am not surprised.
This dude over here.
So this is a game developed by the team that would later bring us the wonderful series of No More Heroes for the Wii and later released across several different platforms. This is a weird one. Not No More Heroes. That's their future game. God Hand is a action adventure, over the shoulder beat 'em up, equivalently. I can't even remember the guy's name now, but the main character, you're on your journey. You use martial arts or whatever fighting style he's using to go beat your way through the levels. All well in typical fashion. You meet a bunch of strange characters during your journeys that help you, fight you. The weird Power Rangers that you fight for one boss fight. Overall, if you're just feeling like playing just to beat 'em up with a very interesting story and having a good time, I'd say find God Hand somewhere where you can play it, because you're not going to find a physical copy, and if you do, it's going to be over $100.
Nice. Love that.
It's just a very entertaining time of just beating people up, only to then run into a bunch of strange characters. Like, if you've played the No More Heroes series, take that and be far less serious, yeah, it's a weird one.
Shout out to God Hand for Gamestead Game of the Week. All right, let's get out of here.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows. It does help. Yeah, Switch 2 stuff.
All right, then. Yeah, do everything he said and more. And if you like what you saw here with us, we usually do these live streams every Saturday about 6 p.m. Central Time or so. Not next week, though. Next week's WrestleMania.
Yeah, so we will be on a break next week unless something humongous happens this week that catches John's attention, because Zach's just not available, period. If something huge happens that catches John's attention and he wants to do a show, we'll do a show sometime in the afternoon. If not, I'll at least post a video of whatever goes on through the week. John, give me your WrestleMania hot take for the Gamestetic listeners. I'm putting you on the spot here, buddy. I've done that to the boys on ATFS the last 2 weeks. I got one for you.
Carlito comes back to life.
Oh, he got murdered.
No, I'll just say night 2 main event is gonna be one of the least interesting title matches on the card.
Oh, that's actually a good hot take. I like that. See, you're doing a lot better than the shit that Jacob and Shane's bringing to me over at ATFS when I asked this question. No, my hot take is that when it comes to that triple threat for the Women's World Championship, the correct and only winner is Bianca Belair, which I will talk about why on a Terrible Wrestling Show, which we will have an episode out before night 1 of WrestleMania. So shout out to that. Go watch it where you can listen to probably John and I, and maybe more, talk about WrestleMania 41 and give our predictions for it. But also, if you could, just check out the Patreon, and we would really appreciate that. Support the brand further. Shout out to our Tier 2 patron, Hannah. Join the Discord, be a friend, tell a friend, and check out Agent Inc. and Rogue Energy with the referral links down below. Promo code Sparky3 to get 10% off at Rogue Energy. So I think that's it. Yeah, again, no episode next week. At least a video of whatever takes place during the week, and then we'll be back after that for Expedition 33. So that's very exciting. Have a good one. Enjoy WrestleMania. Tell me your hot takes down below. Bye.